We will now be focusing, in fact, on something that's actually close to our hearts, because no matter how we call ourselves as supply chain professionals, logisticians, we are also customers in some way or the other. And that's where urban logistics literally is part of our life. And our next session is all about achieving excellence in the last mile delivery. I'm going to be inviting our speakers on stage, and we're going to start the next session in the next couple of seconds. Please be seated. Please stay tuned. All right, so on that note, I believe our speakers are inside the hall, so let's go ahead and invite them on the stage. I'm going to once again check if Mr. Varun Gupta is here. Mr. Varun Gupta? Yes, we do have you here. Mr. Varun Gupta, Supply Chain Director, Nestle. We also have with us Mr. Sourabh Pandey, CXO, Fulfilment and Experience, Meesho. Thank you so much for joining in. And to spearhead the session once again, we have with us Mr. Parthaa Bosu, Innovation and Future Strategies Expert, Domain and Functional Advisory Group. Innovations for seamless urban logistics. That's the theme for our fireside chat. With that, let the chat begin, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So every time you order something on e-commerce, so first of all, are you getting jumbled? Are you able to segregate between the sessions, or do you think everything is like seamlessly woven and you don't understand which one is ending and which one is starting? I hope that doesn't happen in our case. We have two excellent panelists with us. And what we want to just tweak about and talk about, something you might have always thought, that every time you order something on e-commerce or every time you order something from an online platform and you check that express delivery, fast delivery, etc., you don't know what happens behind the screen. But one thing that happens for sure, which I can assure you, is there is a multiple exponential growth in emissions that definitely happens. And that is where the last mile connectivity and how our two panelists have found the innovation in making them more and more sustainable really matters. So without much ado, we have with us Sourabh Pandey from Meesho and Varun from Nestle. Thank you very much. So I'll start with you, Sourabh. And I'm keen to understand that you have been here in this space for some years, and I would really like to understand, and for my audience, what are the kind of challenges and how you have been able to manage and innovate out of those? Can you talk about in the context of last mile delivery, of course?
Yeah, so I think urban logistics, if I was to look at the last 20 years, how it's evolved, I think it was to go 20 years back and think about it, urban logistics only had some trucks going to kiranas and delivering items to them, right? And that has evolved into now e-commerce, then food, and now quick commerce, which is kind of 4 different supply chains which are coming and choking that same urban ecosystem at the same time. And one of the things that we've tried to do, and when we've tried to kind of go around this problem, what we've realized is supply is sparse, the space is sparse, and everybody's trying to choke that space a lot, right? So I think how do you start utilizing assets across these 4 different use cases becomes a very important problem statement. It's cost efficient, as well as it allows you to kind of use your downtimes well to ensure that you're also providing great service and you are managing those supply crunch that kind of come in, right? There are multiple other problems, I think, that have come in. Office spaces have become more and more restricted. So the wait times at office spaces is becoming pretty crazy. We're also seeing a lot of challenges around how customers behave. Now, typically, all urban spaces have almost all the family members out of the house. And then it's very difficult to figure out when they are in, when they are not, and ensure that you're able to do a successful delivery, right? So I think in both these spaces, we've kind of worked with the housing societies, with the apartment complexes, as well as the office complexes, to create a sub-network of delivery within this ecosystem. And that has helped us kind of crunch time and start using other stuff, right? And obviously using a lot of technology to map out these customer preferences and ensuring that we are able to increase our successful deliveries that we make.
Right. On the contrary, Varun, you have been in this space. I mean, Nestle has been in this space for a very, very long time. And in order to improve, and last mile is now everything, right? Everywhere there is a lot of last mile happening. How do you see what kind of innovations that you have done at your end, at Nestle, has done in order to improve this supply chain management?
No, great. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
See, we are a country which is quite diverse, which is a country which is quite vast. From one side to another, we talk about 3,300 kilometers, either north to south or east to west. So the first thing, when we talk about creating accessibility and availability for the consumer, is that you need to create a right network. Because we're talking about 500,000 villages, and there are many villages which are less than 2,000 people, and the more you want to penetrate, the cost start becoming a big inhibitor, cost and infrastructure, etc. So the first thing is, what is the best network? And when we design the network, again, we use a lot of modelers, and the networks, I remember, when I was in the mid of my career, we used to have sophisticated modelers where we will do from, decide, okay, where the factory should be. Then started coming around, okay, what the distribution center should be. Now the third piece is about, okay, there's a customer, there's a factory location. How do you reach? Because we've broken the barriers where we in fact go straight to the customers from factories as well. So, and again, and that's for me the starting with the network first, which is about designing. The second thing is creating the right infrastructure. So for example, whether the factories have enough agility and flexibility if you want to service the customer directly. Second, does your distribution centers have, again, the agility, responsiveness, because the consumer preferences change, and that gets reflected in the customer order. So how do you do that? And the third piece is velocity, because as we say, time is money in supply chain, and the velocity plays a big role, especially for our kind of environment. Now, what kind of automation you apply? So today we have connected ourselves where all our customers, they are digitally connected to us. All the replenishment which happens for our customers is through digital mode. And then the physical mode which happens is more an execution, because everything from the time an order is taken from a customer to the time the last proof of delivery is taken from the customer is all digitalized. The last piece which we are working on today, because again, we service a series of customers, and again, those customers, when they need to go to and connect to the last mile, they need time, resource, and to invest. So we are seeing how can we service these customers in a more channeled way. And that's where the forecast accuracies come to the picture.
But Varun, and I'm just asking a follow-up question on that. You see, the customer is now everything, and every day the customer is becoming more and more aware. And I saw a presentation in the morning where somebody showed that as per their survey, large number of customers do not mind paying a little bit more, but to have a more sustainable and green deliveries or something like that, or a product which has lesser carbon footprint. Before I come to Sourabh, I would like to ask you, Varun, that how is Nestle looking at this part? Are you able to reduce your carbon footprint drastically, keeping in mind with the customer changes?
Yeah, we've reduced our carbon footprint almost, I would say, by 1/3 in the last few years.
How?
And again, we always talk about decarbonization through alternate fuels. But the reality of life in supply chains is always a lot of moments. Now, if we are able to reduce the number of moments, if we are able to do a higher throughput with the same liter of fuel, you are able to get the back freight for the empty trucks. That's anywhere like I would say a low-hanging fruit. And that's what we cracked through digitalization. And on top of that, we also partnered where we're looking at alternate fuels, including EV. We also have LNG, where we have tried LNG. We also have, there are areas in North where we are 100% on secondary distribution in alternate fuel. Oh, wow. So that's, so we have a mixed bag. And
so
as we speak,
entirely...
yes, and as we speak, in fact, we also converted one of our DCs where we are getting electricity through solar.
Right.
And that's part of the plan as well.
So we heard alternate fuels, that is, and another is basically route optimization, use of IoT and all that. Over to you, Varun.
So I think beyond what Varun just mentioned, I think EVs for the e-commerce space specifically and the use case that we serve for is still an evolving technology for us. Because again, speeds, load factors are something that's happening. The good thing is that it's happening very rapidly. So a lot of our network design today takes into account what EVs can do because they're also more cost efficient. Today, the reality is EVs have become more cost efficient, and that's very, very helpful, right? I think the second big thing that is a big carbon footprint driver for us is packaging. I think we do a lot of packaging because we move packets across the length and breadth of the country, and it takes a lot of packaging to kind of get there. Again, a lot of work around how can we move items just in their primary packaging and not have secondary packaging on top of them is a very big lever for us, right? And that's something that we are focusing on. And the third one, and again, Varun touched on it slightly when he spoke about utilization. And that's another thing that we kind of are doing very, very aggressively, right? So today we work very closely with the food delivery companies to look at, hey, when do your drivers have downtime? Can I increase their density and hence reduce the distance that they are traveling by giving them something in the e-commerce supply chain as well? So that's also something which sustainability is always thought of as a cost element. It really isn't. So it does help reduce cost if you think about it that way.
No, this is really exciting because, of course, I do understand that our products are not like distributing letters, which can be done using a cycle. So obviously, we'll have to look for other innovative methods. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes. Yeah.
I think you raised a very good point, and sorry, we have to close, but
No, that's okay.
last 1 minute. Our country, we always believe that to connect to the last village, it's a difficult task. But let's remember Indian Speed Post, which reaches to the last destination, has one of the best pin code deliveries. And in fact, that's also one of the very good format, which is, I would say, potential for the last mile.
It's a fantastic point. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed to our panelists. And on that note, if I could request you to please remain on stage. And may I please invite Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur, Vice President, Supply Chain Management and Head of Global Logistics, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, to please come on stage, sir. And so if I may please request you to present a token of gratitude to all of our speakers. And I must confess, these topics are mighty interesting. And I know we are running out of time, which is why we made the content also snackable. But I do wish that we had allotted way more time for such content and such amazing discussions. But I'd like to also take the opportunity to thank our speakers for understanding and for yet sharing some valuable pointers, valuable nuggets of perspectives, rather. Well, on that note, it's time for a group photograph, the final drill after every session.